everybody in this chat, why you're always with us is that creative is the most important lever for success in all of your paid advertising. But what we saw about based on your roles is that we know that there's usually two types of people, two types of teams, and two types of brains that are involved. We have our media buyers and data heads at the end of the day, and our creative folks on the other side who are exactly that, more creative. So as Zach was saying, it's all about how we marry this and make sure they're operating in lockstep, because there's a natural disconnect in what makes people so great. So as Zach was saying, the strategy here to make this ultimately bridge be repaired is creative strategy. So it's like, how do we bring these two teams, brains, and people together? And then to put a visual behind the words that Zach was saying so eloquently is the creative strategy flywheel is ultimately the solution. If you follow these steps, you will output the best creative possible. So where Motion and Foreplay come to life is that we help enable the steps during this workflow, and Alex makes it all come together and smashes it out of the park. So on the motion side of things, we play heavily on the creative analytics end, and that just means we make it really easy to analyze, visualize, and then share insights across the board. And then now I can kick it back to Zach to say where and continue what he's talking about on the Foreplay side of bringing it to life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Motion and Foreplay have kind of like fit together like puzzle pieces in this workflow for like a really long time now. I know like Evan, I was like talking with Evan before he even like started Foreplay, like super long time ago, to actually like buy Motion when I was running agency. But yeah, so essentially we sit at sort of like the creative ideation and research side of things, you know, looking at what's working in your industry as well as other industries, like the largest community ad library in the entire world of over 5 million ads, all handpicked by sort of everybody that uses our platform. And then just like operationalizing creativity amongst your entire team, right? Everybody has these either like group chats on Instagram or Slack channels where sharing ad inspiration. A lot of the times that gets, you know, falls through the cracks. Nothing ever happens with them. But if you take action, you know, kind of really harness the sort of creative minds of your entire team and then push them through to action and creating net new assets. But yeah, I'm excited for this talk. Absolutely love like, you know, Alex's brain, the way he thinks about things. It's like super meticulous. So he has like some incredibly actionable sort of like steps here that he's going to walk everybody through. And so can't wait to show you guys.
Love it. Love it. And a couple of housekeeping notes just before we get in. First things first, if you have questions, please, if you look on the right side, there's a Q&A tab. Throw it in there, upvote some of your favorite ones, and we'll be sure to get to them at the end. And then the second piece here is where I need all of your backs. So everyone's going to be asking for the recording throughout this. Can you just let them know that it's definitely going to be made available, and no worries. Would love to help. Would love to help the team up there. So with that being said, I think we're ready to announce and bring to stage the man, the myth, the legend himself, my guy, Alex Cooper. Bring him up stage. Bring him on stage, please. Welcome. Everybody show some love in the chat. But Alex, welcome to the party,
guys?
man.
How we
Excited
doing?
to have you here.
Appreciate you both. How are we doing today?
Doing great, man.
Absolutely incredible. Alex for president
okay,
from Sonya. Getting the love here. Amazing.
Alex
So everybody, if you don't know,
that's a real love from Sonya.
If you don't know Alex, you're gonna get to know him for sure at the end of this. But Alex is the man. He's the co-founder of Adcrate, does his thing. If you're not following him on Twitter or X or YouTube, you definitely have to. We're gonna throw those links into the chat in a second for sure. Even at Motion, we use Adcrate just because we know what Alex is about. So he's gonna bring this all to life. So this is where Zach and I are gonna step out. You're gonna step in, absolutely smash it with the people, and then we'll see you in Q&A. Okay, sir?
Awesome. Looking forward to it, everyone.
Amazing.
Sweet. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to share my screen. I've got some slides to go through. And yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping in and building an ad with everyone today. So give me one moment to just share these slides real quick. Let's see the love. Follow us on X. Evan, you may want to jump in real quick. I'm getting a conflict when I'm trying to share my screen. There's an error.
Now we're running into more technical issues. This is fantastic. Okay, so
there you go.
It's kind of what happens along the way. All right, let me see if I can share my screen.
Okay, okay, I think we got it.
We're in business.
a moment. We are.
Let me know if not.
We good?
We're live. We're good.
We are good. Let's get into it. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Good to see all the love in the chat and people from all over the globe. Very excited to jump in today and build an ad with everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am the co-founder of Adcrate. We are a creative agency who puts out over 1,000 ads a month for D2C brands that spend anywhere on the end from $50K a month to on the high end, like multiple millions of dollars every single month. Work with brands like Harry's razors, Bite toothpaste, Ovi, and a lot of your favorite D2C brands. This picture on the right is actually an event that we did at the back end of last year in Miami. That's my co-founder, Ali Qureshi, and you can also see Barry Hott there, or more commonly as he's referred to, the ugly ads guy. So we did a shoot where we were just shooting a bunch of creative for our clients over in Miami, which was fun. But yeah, that's a little bit of background on me. This is what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to be going through the exact research process that we use Adcrate so that you can have ad briefs that write themselves, how to brainstorm and ideate unlimited ad concepts for your brand with an example of a script that we're going to put together. We're going to talk about how we can do this whilst leveraging AI in your ad scripts and in the stuff that you put together. The exact creative styles that we're seeing to work right now across 20 accounts with multiple millions to spend on them every single month. How to use the data to determine where to iterate on an ad, because as you guys know, there are unlimited iterations you can make on an ad. And it's just about deciding where to iterate and what the biggest impact creative swings that you can take are. So we're going through that too. And finally, the correct way to set up your ads so that you can extract the best and most efficient learnings, not just on an individual ad level, but also account-wide, which is going to be very interesting. This is going to be tactical. I hope it's going to be practical as well. And I'm very much looking forward to getting cracking with you guys. So let's start with the boring stuff, with research. And honestly, I know that this is something that gets covered a lot, but I really don't think that most people, after working with a ton of strategists and working with a ton of brands over the last couple of years, I really think that 90% of the issues with most people's ad creative can be tied back to not doing enough research. And I cannot underestimate and understate the importance of this. Because the reality is, when we are producing ads that are going to be run inside the feed, we're not just competing with our competitors on that feed. We're competing with all the organic stuff, all the friends posts, the family posts, the memes. As you guys know, people are not on their feed to look at ads. So ultimately, it's the person who knows their audience best that is going to win, who can speak to the pain points and value props that innately resonate with your audience. And that all stems from doing good research. So that's where we are going to start. I'm going to talk you through my exact research. And today, the brand that we are going to be building out a creative for is Flakes. To give you a high-level overview, they are an anti-dandruff shampoo for men. The premise is that most anti-dandruff brands, like the Head and Shoulders of the world, they have sulfates and parabens that actually aren't, they're actually counterproductive for dandruff. So Flakes comes in to solve that and is a product actually for anti-dandruff. So this is where I start when I am building a brief, basically from blank. I like to put together what I call an audience one sheet. And I look at this as like the foundation for the scripts and the briefs that we're going to put out. And this is what it looks like. I've got 5 areas that I focus on for my audience one sheet. And we're going to add to this as we go throughout this call and start infusing different things from different parts of the research, from reviews to comments to ad accounts, to build out this like master document, which we can compound and use to build out like all the briefs we work with. So at Adcrate, each of our clients have this audience one sheet, and it's always like our home base, if it were, to build out the briefs that we're building out. So this is what that process looks like. So first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to add what we know ourselves about our audience. So for flakes, as I just mentioned, it eliminates dandruff, and there's no harsh ingredients, and like a secondary benefit is that it smells really good. I'm going to go and do that for our benefits, our features, our objections, our failed solutions, our pain points, and anything else that I want to include on this one sheet. So we're going to go and fill that out yourself, and I also like cross-referencing reviews, and we'll get onto that more in a moment, but for the most part, in step one, I'm just filling it out on the back of my knowledge of my target audience. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to take customer reviews from our reviews database, and if you don't have any reviews, then a good place to start would be your competitors' reviews, and we are going to start adding them to the specific points as supporting evidence. And the reason that we do this is because right now, like I said, we're building the foundation for us to go and write ad briefs, and this is where, like, as we'll show in a few moments' time, the ad briefs will come to write themselves, because you'll go, okay, I want to mention benefit A, benefit B, benefit C, and I've got underneath of each one of these multiple reviews from customers telling me what they find valuable or what they find painful about this specific point. And this is a very a light version. Actually, the ones that we have for our clients are very detailed, and there's like tens of reviews under each one. And the whole idea of this is the fact that, like, when we're speaking to customers, we don't want to speak in our language. We want to speak in their language. So we're looking for the phrases, the words, like the nuances in how our customers communicate. What is the emotive language that we're using? So we're going to take that, put it into our one sheet, and then we're going to work them into the messaging, not in only just our ad creators, but also for the rest of the funnel. We're looking about our landing pages, our email flows, our post-purchase. All of this stuff can stem from having a proper one sheet in place, and then having that supporting evidence from customer reviews. Now, the cool thing is you don't even have to do it yourself. You could very easily just take a reviews dump, or like take a CSV of your reviews and put in like 70, 75 reviews, put it into GPT, and then just say, like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to organize these points based off of the priority that customers are telling us about them into these 6 categories, and find supporting evidence to put underneath each of these points that you suggest. I always prefer to do it manually, at least when I'm working on a new brand. If you already have a good knowledge of the brand that you're working on, many of you maybe create a strategy for D2C brands yourself, so you'll know the brand. You may just want to plug it into AI to expedite this process for you to go and put together your audience one sheet. Those are the first 2 steps, and that's the reviews that we've covered, but that's only one very small part of the audience research process. The third part, is we are going to go through the checklist to look for further supporting evidence to add to this document. So we've got the skeleton here. We have the our 5 points and our other. Now we're going to go through this checklist and add on anything else that we see to this base document. So we've done the reviews. Now we're going to start looking into our ad comments. Are there any little nuggets here that we can take and put them in? For example, this is one of the Flakes ad comments. Just bought mine today. Hopefully this works and I can get rid of the anxiety of going to the barber. Perfect. Great specific use case. We can literally take this. Now I can get rid of the anxiety of going to the barber. We can use that in an ad brief. Great. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to put it in my one sheet. I'm also going to look throughout the rest of the ad comments, because there's a real gold mine in terms of benefits and pain points and specific use cases that people are finding with your product. Competitor research, I touched on briefly before. You may want to look at competitors' reviews. You may want to look at competitors' ad libraries. I will caveat that by saying that, just because someone is running something, it obviously does not mean that it's working. And I actually know founders and media buyers of bigger brands that will literally run ads at $1 a day for a long time to make it look like they are they're working, when in essence they're just trying to throw people off. But it still can provide as good inspiration. I don't really like looking at direct competitors. I prefer to get like a lot of the inspiration that we do get externally actually from other industries. And we'll go into a couple of actually different platforms in a moment. But if there's any like brands, and we have like 10 to 15 brands that we frequent that do a very good job with their ads. Sometimes we can take inspiration from them, whether it be a hook or a concept or an idea. It's worth considering too. The ad account and motion reports, we will get into this in a little more detail soon, but looking at what kind of concepts have worked, what kind of messaging, any specific clips that seem to come up in top performers, and really diving deep into the ad account. Obviously, I'm just touching on these briefly, guys, because we only have, 30, 40 minutes to go through this today. In essence, you should be spending a lot more time on this to build out your audience one sheet. And remember, like all of the findings here, let's tie them back to what we've got on here underneath our 5 different categories and anything else you can put under other. So we're really building this solid base document that's going to help us get a lot of ad angles. Tickets and surveys. So putting together a survey for your customers to tell you, for them to tell you what are the reasons you bought. What are the main value props or the pain points or the triggers that got you to buy into this product? You can get a lot of gold from there too. And finally, social listening. This is where it really gets interesting. So I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of places where you can find some very interesting insights about your customers or prospective customers. Reddit forums. You can find so much on here. And yes, it's maybe for some audiences better than others, but I just searched like Reddit plus get rid of dandruff, or like I think it's just how to get rid of dandruff plus Reddit, or something like that. You search the pain point or like the industry or the product and then Reddit. And I found this post. This is the first post that came up. Finally, seems to have found an answer for my dandruff. Try not to cry happy tears. And you can see how many different parts of like emotive language that we can take from this. I mean, look, we've got intense source of insecurity, itchy and irritated. I had a dehydrated scalp. Like these are all messages that I would take and I'd put into our audience one sheet, and we're going to sprinkle into our ad briefs because this is our customers, or like our prospective customers, telling us exactly what they're struggling with or exactly what their pain points, their fears, or their insecurities are. Like this is gold. All the methods yielded this to no result. I feel frustrated. I feel like I've managed to do something wrong. So yeah, I mean, this was just the first one that I pulled up. I didn't even look into the comments. I didn't even look into any other Reddit forums, but we've found many like pieces of emotive language or just nuggets that we can take and infuse into our ad briefs from posts like this on Reddit. You can also find the same on Quora for slightly older audiences generally. But once again, how do I remove dandruff? Or like how to get rid of dandruff plus Quora. I found this post. What have we got here? Like, there is no home remedy for dandruff, believe me. Okay, there's your angle. Like, there is no home I thought there was no home remedy for dandruff. And then I found this. Like, there's your angle. My dandruff started spreading to different body parts. I didn't even know this was a thing until I read this post. So that could be something that you want to play with in your ad script as well. But yeah, Reddit, Quora, you can find some real little golden nuggets on those two. Then, on the topic of like consuming the content that your customers are consuming, because that's what you're effectively doing at this point. What about news articles? Can we look online to find like, I mean, I just Googled like how to fix dandruff men. And like the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm really trying to get inside the head of the person that we're trying to talk to here. Like when they look up online for solutions, what is it they're being greeted with? What is it that's rising to the top? Because like if these are the posts that are rising to the top, these are probably the things that are resonating with people better than everything else. So how to get rid of dandruff fast, what you need to know. Once again, in this article, we've got itchy scalp is as painful as it's embarrassing. That's a great line that I could just steal and infuse into one of my ad scripts. Statistics. I love statistics in my ad briefs. 50% of the population worldwide has dealt with the skin condition. That sounds pretty scary. And that's something that we may want to leverage. I mean, sometimes I just go online and I look for statistics. Sometimes I just GPT and say, like, give me 5 statistics. Give me 5 shocking statistics about dandruff for men. There we go. Like, and if we can find anything like that, 50% of the population, like, great. That's really useful information. Guess where that's going? That's going right into my audience one sheet. Yep. So, 5 shocking statistics. Then we're gonna go to YouTube. We haven't even got into this yet. This goes from like brainstorming to almost like ideation now. But I can't tell you how many times we have found an idea for a hook or a concept or just a clip on YouTube organic or YouTube Short, and TikTok organic. just searching how to fix dandruff. And you can see here, look, 4.8 million views, 5.8 million views, 2.2 million views. I know that just because it works on organic doesn't mean it'll work on paid, but still, like if you can find pieces of content in your industry or related to your specific product or problem that have proven to stop the scroll and get people's attention and keep people's attention, then that may be something that you may want to go, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna like just hand it to a creator and say, go and recreate this, or go and recreate this hook, or this this clip, or whatever it is, because it's literally like been battle tested in the organic algorithm. And I'm going to show a couple of examples of this in a moment. But if I just go to YouTube now, let's see if we can find a couple. So if I come back out here and then I go to share, hopefully I'm not going to get the same issues we did a moment ago. Maybe we are. So I may have to put this on ice for now. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a lag on the sharing. So I'll probably just keep it inside the presentation, to be fair. I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of ads that we've taken into production and that have worked. I'm not going to put up YouTube because it seems to be taking longer than expected for me to share. That's all good. Same thing with TikTok Organic. I just searched how to fix dandruff. And by the way, like you can do this with a bunch of different search terms. You can do this like I struggle with dandruff, or like I struggle with dermatitis, which is like the more technical term, which is like a whole different audience or a whole different side of TikTok that you'd be reaching. Different search terms, different platforms that we are searching on, and you can find like so many golden nuggets on the back of this. So let's look at an example. Well, I think PowerPoint is probably not going to let me show the examples. I might have to. It's not even going to let me show that one. Okay, great. So maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'm going to show this example of a TikTok organic video that actually this was in Miami when we were shooting. We worked with this creator who had this video that got 3.6 million views organically, and it was a perfect example of like a perfect alignment with the problem that we were trying to solve. This was for some hip thrust belts. So she made a video on organic that did well. I'm going to play this video. Hopefully it's going to work. If it's not, then we'll find out a solution, and I'll show you the ad we made off the back of it.
If you want to grow literally the fattest ass you've ever seen in your entire life, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and watch this video. I'm going to start with a dumbbell. Yes, I said a dumbbell. That's right, not a barbell. We're not going fancy here. You want to take a dumbbell that you can comfortably lift, nothing too crazy because you're going to burn out on this, okay? You're going to get in position of a regular hip thrust, all right? Regular hip thrust. We're not showing off today. You're going to take this dumbbell. You're going to set it right there in the nook of your hips, right in that pelvic region. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Into position. So remember, you want the bench right below the shoulder blades. That's going to be perfect alignment. You want to make sure when you are extending up that you are as straight as a tabletop, okay? So first, we're going to hit 10 of these. 1, 2.
Okay, she goes into a demonstration, the rest of it's like educational. Point is, she's talking to an audience about like women trying to grow bigger glutes. 3.6 million views. Now we introduce our hip thrust belt, and this is how we recreated like pretty much an inspired version of this creative, but introduce our product.
If you want to grow literally the fattest ass you've ever seen in your entire life, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and watch this video. Today, we're going to be using not one dumbbell, but 2. Here's the catch. Instead of dealing with all that hip pain, stop what you're doing right now and watch this video. Today, we're going to be using not 1 dumbbell, but 2. Here's the catch. Instead of dealing with all that hip pain and the bruising of holding the dumbbell on my hips, today I'm going to be using a Bella Booty belt. This thing is great when you are trying to get a home workout, especially for the glutes. It's great cushioning and it allows you to add way more weight. Super easy to use. All you do is open it up, add whatever weight you want to. You can use a dumbbell, you can use a kettlebell, well. You can even use weight plates. You can use as much weight as you want.
Okay, and then
So
she goes
from
into
here,
the demonstration,
go ahead and
and then
lift
she
it
finished
up,
off the ad with
set
CTA.
it into position
We haven't been able to produce
onto your
an ad
hips.
that's
Make sure the
performed better
weights
than this
are
one
vertical so that it
inside the ad
sits
account.
comfortably.
And look, the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is not that you should always rely on external inspiration. You should always just copy what other people are doing. But at the same time, like, I like to think of all of these like different sources of ideas of just like add into the collective brainstorm, and then you as a strategist pick like these are the ones I want to take into production. So you don't want to exclusively only rely on your own ideas. You also don't want to only exclusively rely on things that are, or like things that have already been made, and just taking those as inspiration. But I could sit here and show you a ton more of examples of how we've taken like a hook or a concept or an idea from the YouTube Shorts or from TikTok or from Instagram Reels, and transformed them into an ad by just literally sending the reference over to the creator and saying, "Hey, can you re-record this hook, or can you like redo this?" What you don't want to do is like use the exact same clip, because that will get you into trouble with Facebook or with whatever platform you're advertising on. But there definitely is some merit to at least testing, looking at what kind of content is in your niche about your problem, and then seeing if there is any content online that you want to replicate. So here's the workflow that we use. When I see something on TikTok or in an ad library, or actually, we'll show that in a minute, but what I do is I save it down to a foreplay board. So each of our clients will have their own foreplay board, and we just have like a collective brainstorm of different ads and different inspiration. And I'll get into that in a moment. And now you can do it on Reels as well, which is like super helpful. I've been bugging Zach for the last 3 months to try and get this implemented. But now you can literally just, like, I saw this ad. I was embarrassed about dandruff. I saw it. You can send it to Foreplay through their Instagram business, or like just DM it to Foreplay, and it goes straight into the Foreplay board, which is incredible. So what you've got when we save down our stuff, and I hope it's not going to take too long to screen share here. If it does, then it's all goody. But I just want to show real quick what that looks like, because for me, like, I don't know about what you guys who already use Foreplay, like, for me, the benefit of it is being able to just have one board. Like, we have obviously multiple boards, but like, if I am producing something, like if I'm the strategist, I'm thinking, how can I best communicate the vision that I have in my head to the relevant stakeholders that need to see this? Whether that be other strategists on the team, whether that be people reviewing my work, whether that be editors. And just being able to go, hey, like, specifically for editors, like if I say, hey, like, this is something new that we're trying to pull off, like we haven't really done anything like this before, go and make this edit, versus, hey, here's something that we're trying to do. Here's a Foreplay board of 10 edits that are like similar and kind of in the realm of what I want you to complete. Go and do something like that. That significantly reduces the time that it takes the editors to like understand what's going on. We have a ton of different boards, and we have boards for like different creative formats. So for example, like if we wanted to create some AI ads, and this is something I'm going to actually cover in a moment, we can just go to this Foreplay board and share it with the other strategists or share it with the editors, and say, like, this is along the lines of what we're trying to go for. And then everyone's kind of on the same page. Once again, I'm stressing that just because, like, you don't always want to rely on external inspiration, you don't always want to rely on internal inspiration. But just when we're like creating briefs and we are and we send them over to relevant people on the team, then it is very helpful for us to be able to do that. Okay, sweet. How are we looking for time? 35. Cool. I'm going to reshare, and we'll keep cracking on with these slides as we continue to build out our ad. What I want to do is, look, I said to you guys at the beginning, we run 20 different accounts, or at least we create creative for 20 different brands. So we have quite a lot of like aggregated learnings. So I think it'd be a shame for us to sit down for an hour and do this together without talking about what's actually working right now inside of our accounts. So a couple of things that I'm bullish on: trends and opportunities for 2024. Number one, it's number one for a reason: customer testimonials. I want you guys to look at this ad that we produced for a pair of jeans. You can tell that these people are not creators, or if they are creators, then they're damn good creators. So don't look it. At the end of the day, all creators are trying to do is simulate the effect of being an actual customer. And look, it's no secret that UGC's been around for a while now, and I think there's definitely still a place for UGC in its current format. But people are yearning for things that are more authentic. And what's more authentic than your customers actually recording for yourselves? And I'm like, I've got enough proof from enough ad accounts right now to be able to say that I am very bullish on these this year. I've seen a lot of these perform. Real customers giving real testimonials. Yes, the lighting may not be as good. The setup may be poor and they may not know what to say, but it's a bit of a volume game. You work with enough of them, you'll get a few that are gems. Like, look at this guy. Like, there's no way he could be a customer. Like, there's no way he could be a creator, sorry. Well, he could be a creator, like, you know what I mean. Custom testimonials, very bullish on them. Fake podcast, I'm not gonna spend that much time on each one of these. Fake podcast ads, I mean, these have been working for a while now. Just similarly, the impact of a podcast, especially effective for brands that have an educational angle. And that kind of plays into the idea that you hear a lot of people talk about of like the creative this year being content first. Podcasts are a great way to educate people. Ugly ads, which kind of links into the customer testimonials, do things that you see on the organic feed. Before every clip or like every shot or every ad that we're producing, if you're going for an ugly ad, would I see this on the organic feed? And if not, then like how can I make it seem more like I am? It would be on the organic feed. So anecdotally, I mean not anecdotally because it's actually empirically across 20 accounts, but we are seeing car clips, walking clips, and just anything you see on the organic feed, like a girl sitting at her makeup table, setting up the camera, like that versus like someone setting up on a tripod with like perfect lighting, like that's maybe not consciously will make a difference, but subconsciously, like that could be the decision. That could be the difference between a decision of to scroll or not to scroll. Because like think about it, when we're scrolling on social media, we're not thinking about like, do I want to watch this or do I not want to watch this? You make the decision in a split second, and there are a lot of little psychological levers that can impact that. And if it's something that like almost blends in to stand out, or something uglier, like something that's in the car, or like something that's just someone walking holding their phone, or like someone just setting up in their kitchen on the makeup table, whatever it be, that at least in my opinion feels more organic, feels more native, and is more likely to give you that extra half a second that you need to convince someone to watch the video. And then it's the job of the rest of the video to then go and sell them on the prospect of clicking through to the landing page. And finally, but last by no means least, AI generated ads. We've been testing a few of these lately, and I'm very curious to see how they are how they continue to perform. Early signs have been very promising, and there's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could do this through like mid-journey ads. You could do this through ChatGPT's and 11 Labs voiceover. I'm going to put together a foreplay board, and there's going to be some downloadable content at the end of this with some examples of all of these for you guys to check out. But AI generated ads, I'm keeping tabs on, and I'm very excited to see what happens. And just one more point on that, actually, it's not going to be long. Guys, I'm not allowed to say anything because we're doing some internal testing right now, but it's really not going to be long before you're not going to be able to tell the difference between someone speaking on their feed, whether they're AI or a real person. And I just wonder, like that, I'm pretty sure will be at some point this year. I just wonder, are people going to have more of a yearn for like actually even more authentic? And does the pendulum swing and ads get even uglier as more and more AI ads are starting to be produced? It really won't be long. And I'm saying that because we're doing some internal testing, but let's keep tabs on that and how it goes. Using AI, I'm not going to touch this in the interest of time. I'm going to put this in the slides that we send over, but just basically an AI script that we did. That the script was wrote with ChatGPT. The AI voiceover was done with 11 Labs, and the content was already in our existing content library, and basically put this ad together in like literally an hour, 2 hours, and ended up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to put that in the slides for you guys to check out in your own time, and that is the workflow for it there. few other uses of AI that we've been implementing at Adcrate. Cool, I see a few comments about the AI advertising. I'm happy to address those in the Q&A. A few other use cases we've had: generating voiceovers, generating images and video for static ads, which is what I just showed you in Midjourney, removing background noise, separating audio from video, changing language, and soon will be AI UGC. And this goes back to the idea that we covered earlier on, where there should be no shortage of ideas if you've done your research process properly. You're going to have ideas from you. You're going to have ideas from AI potentially. You're going to have ideas from external inspiration. And the value add of the creative strategist in 2024 is not like who can come up with the best ideas. It's like, here's 50 ideas. I'm going to choose, this is the one I'm going to take into production. And being able to choose the right ones enough times is what's going to make you valuable as a creative strategist. And then obviously being able to develop those as we take them into production. So, as I said, once you have done the research, and if you've done the research properly, you've filled out your audience one sheet, you've added all the supporting evidence, you've gone through all of the checklist points, and you've continued to add those to your one sheet, then you're kind of in a place where the script should write itself. And let me show you what I mean by that. So this script, I literally I drummed up on Monday. It took me 10 minutes to write because I did all the research myself, 4 flakes. And you can see that, oh, I didn't actually get a chance to show the TikTok organic one, but in the Foreplay board that I'll send over after. This is literally from a TikTok that I saved down into Foreplay that went and got, I think it was 8 million views organically about dandruff. I think it was 3 reasons, three things you can do to combat your dandruff. And then just at each point, I'm just plugging in the things from the audience sheet. So this was a common failed solution from the customer reviews. We have the primary feature leading to the benefit. Talking about the dermatologist formula. I actually need to fill that out. Oops. Primary pain points that have been mentioned in reviews. And I'm just feeding back to the customers what they've told me inside of the inside of the research, inside the audience one sheet, whether that be from reviews, whether that be from surveys, from tickets, from all the stuff that we covered earlier. And I'm just infusing those back into our messaging, once again, not just in our ad creative, but throughout the rest of the funnel too. And this is how, at least in my opinion, you produce ad scripts that you can go in with high confidence rather than just things that you're almost shooting blank with, because you are speaking to your customers in their language. Now, I'd love to sit down, shameless plug, I would love to sit down and go through the stuff for creators, how to pick creators, source creators, work with editors. Although I do understand that everyone's time is valuable here, and we are running up against a deadline. So if you are interested, I do make some YouTube content, and there's a ton of that stuff, including a 1-hour free course that I put together on this stuff. Literally, like going through creators, editing, all that stuff. If you guys want to check out in your own time. So lastly, part 3. So we've covered research, we've covered ideation. Let's talk about iteration. What do you do on the back end once you've got data behind ads? So, won't be surprised, you guys, that there's unlimited ways that you can iterate on an ad. And there's a couple different strategies which we'll cover in a moment, but there's a ton of different ways. A couple that I want to speak to, what I would consider slightly bigger swings or more effective across the accounts that we've run. Number one is, if we've got a single creator concept, can we turn this into a mashup? I've had many occasions where we have had a single creator concept crush inside the account, and then we've taken that maybe the first 10 seconds or the first X amount, or just a few clips, and then turned it into a mashup with loads of other creator clips, and that ad has gone and swallowed the original single creator video. And for what it's worth, I've shared this a couple of times, but I did an analysis on all of our ads in 2023. 85% of our winning ads were mashups. So I'm always very bullish on the idea of, when we have a single creator concept, can we turn it into a mashup to see what would happen if we infuse some social proof into the ad. Repurpose in different formats. Anyone who follows Ash's content from Ovi will know that he's spoken extensively on this, and I am very much in agreement, because when you've got an ad that's working, it's not the fact that it's a 3 reasons why, or the fact that it's a whatever format that is getting people to resonate. It's the message behind the ad. It's what you've put in the ad that's like the value props or the pain points that's got them to resonate. So you can take that and you can repurpose it into, say, if you've got a video, can you take the hook or the headline and turn it into like a headline bar for the 4x5s? Can you take it and turn it into a static or a carousel or a GIF? Because I mean, everyone talks about like people consume content in buckets or whatever. I don't fully agree with that, but still, you can hit different audiences to some extent if you take the same messaging and repurpose it inside of different formats. And finally, getting multiple people to re-record the winning script. And the reason I like doing this is because not exclusively, but generally, like people like to buy from people who they resonate with, and a 25-year-old like white woman isn't going to resonate the same with a 50-year-old like Asian guy as she is another 25-year-old white woman. So just by getting someone else to re-record the winning script, and if it's someone in a different demographic, if you are servicing those demographics, you can hit an entirely new audience or resonate with different people, and therefore potentially take that same message once again and unlock some more performance. When we're iterating, we want to look at some metrics. Now, I will caveat this by saying that like secondary metrics are secondary metrics for a reason. You do not want to use secondary metrics to decide like what we're moving into scaling campaigns, or what we're like killing or leaving on or scaling inside the ad account. However, if you've got an ad that you're like, okay, you know, for example, the CPA is strong, but the hook rate is only what 15%. We could think about, look, why is that? How could we improve the hook rate? Could we switch it up? Or is it like okay like that? Is it a 15% because we're targeting like exactly who we want to target and it's qualifying those people and it's disqualifying everyone else? I don't know. Hook rate, hold rate, average watch time, and retention charts, which is something that I don't think like a lot of people when I show these don't actually use them or like even know they exist inside of Facebook's Ads Manager. I'm always curious to look at these as not, once again, not a primary indicator, but just like, oh, if you can see a big drop off between one clip and another clip, it's like, why is that? Have you like have you gone from like a white male to like an Asian female? And people don't resonate with that. Have you just completely switched the angle? Like it was a bit of a bait and switch in terms of like the clip that you showed versus the second clip. I'm always curious to see, like, is there any reason for like huge drop-offs? And is there anything that we can do about that to increase the retention on these? And one thing that I want to emphasize when we are talking about iterating, and I can see I haven't given the eyes. We've got a few more minutes left before we can jump into the Q&A. One thing that I want to like make clear is a lot of people seem to consider like iterations of like when you make an iteration of an ad that it has to beat the original. That's not the goal when we're iterating. If it does, great, but like that doesn't happen that often unless you're making big changes to your iterations. What is more likely going to happen is this. So we've got our original ad. And by the way, like that original ad has already got data behind it. It's already got engagement behind it. Like that's what we're going up against. Especially if you're only making little changes, you're not, for the most part, going to see that outperform the original ad. But that's okay, because the goal here is not to beat the original ad. The goal here is to extend the lifespan of this ad. And if we can do that, then that's still a huge win. And if we can beat the ad, even better. But just anecdotally, I haven't seen it happen a great deal of the time. More so what happens is the second one here, where we make a few iterations, we squeeze a little bit more performance out, and then we're able to wrap up on the ad. And the final thing that I want to leave with everyone today is when we're analyzing ads, we don't just want to analyze on an individual level and say, like, this is this is how we're going to improve this ad. What I found like the most successful brands are also doing is analyzing their creative like holistically, and not just in their ads, like across the whole funnel. And when you do that, you can unlock like huge insights inside of the ad account. And I want to show you what I mean by this, because this is something that doesn't, like, in my opinion, doesn't get talked about a lot. And actually, like, once again, this is the main reason that like we use Motion for the stuff that we do. My philosophy is that you can't master what you don't measure. So when we are loading our ads into the ad account, I'm trying to track a lot of different variables. So I'm just trying to share my screen. I'm tracking a lot of different variables so that we can pull these custom variables through to Motion in the back end. And yes, it's great because we can we can analyze our different creatives inside of Motion. This is cool. But for me, like, I'm thinking about what is the messaging. Like for Flakes, there's three different messages. If any of you guys follow True Classic, like when they did the switch, when they started introducing like dress less dad, more daddy, like that's messaging testing. That's like thinking above like ad creative and actually like when we're talking to customers, what they resonating with. For Flakes, there's three different overarching messages to our ads. There's anti-dandruff shampoo. So this is the best anti-dandruff shampoo. There's big shampoo brands, kind of like juxtaposing against the big shampoo brands that actually aren't anti-dandruff. And this is a dermatologist formula. Like three big ideas. And what most brands do is like they are doing this testing, but they're just not labeling it correctly. So they aren't able to look inside their ad account and go, okay, in the last X amount of days, this is the angle, this is the message that's been resonating. And over a long period of time, like it's going to make a huge difference. We can now look at this and go, okay, it seems like people are resonating more when we don't make the enemy the big shampoo brands, but when we just say that we are the best anti-dandruff shampoo. And once again, that is a learning that we can take and apply not only in our ad creative, but throughout the rest of the funnel too. And the great thing about when you do this, and I'll get into how we did this in a moment, is we can break up in Motion like multiple different ways. So for example, if you're a brand that works with different creative sources, you can aggregate out by different agencies. So for example, like here's our internal stuff, here's our Adcrate, here's our agency Y, agency X, etc. We've got the same reports for ad formats, landing pages, whitelisting, editors, which if you've seen my content before, you know I'm big on aggregating ads out by editors so that you can do incentives for your editors who make the best performing ads, ad copy, headliner, frameworks, and all that kind of stuff. But creatives and messaging are the two reports that we're using here the most. I'm thinking about like what is the overarching message that people are resonating with, and how can we make decisions in our ad creative, not just on an individual level, but on a whole account level off the back of that. And the way that you implement that is pretty simple. You just put in place a naming convention. For us, this is what we do for us. So we have like our file name and our ad name, and just every ad gets tagged from the relevant team members to exactly what it is. And that just makes it super easy on the back end for me to log into Motion and say, hey, like this is the messaging, this is the angle, like, this is the creatives that are working, and then we can make our decisions off the back of that. So I would challenge you guys, like start thinking about this stuff. This is not the fun stuff inside of Ads Manager. Just like the research isn't the fun stuff, but it's also the stuff that most people aren't doing. And if you do the stuff that most people aren't doing, you do it well, then you know, I can say at least for us, this is what's worked really well in terms of messaging and analyzing our creatives. And yeah, this is the result. Freebies. So I put together a lot of things in these slides. If anyone's interested, if you want the audience one sheet template, I've also got some prompts that I use to analyze customer research. The ad naming generator spreadsheet, which I just showed you here. And these slides, if anyone like those, I'm going to make them available if you head to adcrate.co/motion. I'm going to send them out after this training. So please go over there and pick up your free resources. They'll be out shortly after this training. But yeah, that's it. That is I wanted to go through today. And yeah, I guess I'll pass it back over to Evan for the Q&A.
Can everybody see Alex is just like dripping with knowledge at this point? Like it's almost overflowing out of him. Everybody, round of applause. So show some love in the chat. We have to. Absolutely crushed sharing all the gems. We're seeing the love come through, Alex.
Thanks, guys. I did catch a couple of the comments, but I was trying to get on with things, so we managed to hit the time. But great to see everyone in, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of Q&As all up here ready to get answered. If you guys are ready to hop into those, sweet. All right, I'm going to start with the highest voted Q&A, up to like 20 votes from Molly, and she's just wondering, like what about brands that aren't, like very specific problem-solving brands, like wine brands, luxury products? How would you approach like kind of like this problem-solving framework for those types of products?
I wouldn't. The stuff that we went through there, like the framework that I happened to use for that specific ad was a problem agitate solution. However, there'll be different frameworks that will apply better for different products. Usually, if you've got luxury or if you've got lifestyle products, a problem agitate solution isn't going to be anywhere near as effective. So in that case, like if I was selling wine, I'd be looking at other luxury brands. I'd be looking at like things in my industry about wine on our YouTube shorts. And anecdotally, like if you guys have seen like you get the I wish I could pull it up in Foreplay. That would probably take too long. You get those like 7 to 10 second like ads that are just like, say it was, I saw one the other day for some like lights in someone's bedroom that lights up different colors, and it wasn't even a there wasn't a voiceover at all. It was just like showing the room lighting up, and then just had a text overlay and some like aspirational music to it. So like this stuff, like the principles work, but then like the framework in which it is applied can differ from brand to brand, and there are different frameworks that will differ for each one. But for luxury, like I wouldn't try and go the problem solution route. I'd base my research in what other luxury brands are doing, and then apply that to like everything you do in the one sheet and the creatives you put together.
Makes sense.
I think that makes so much sense too, just because like I think what you're saying too, just for the audience, is like you're still agitating and understanding the pain point. It might not be as obvious as something else, but you're still understanding like what is the emotional motivator behind it to make sure that like the end recipient of the creative like will resonate with it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because like when you're selling luxury, like you're not selling a solution to a problem, like you're selling the aspiration. So if you hit it like through the lens of a solution to the problem, it's just not gonna like resonate the same with people. But yeah, for sure. Cool. That's how I go about it.
Hopping into like account structure. So Mary wants to know, so like once you have this variety of, creatives, angles to test, what's the best like account structure, separate ad sets for each angle, separate campaigns for each ad set, all winning creatives. How are you approaching those?
Ooh. I mean, Mary, how long have you got? That's a serious question though. How long do we actually have? Like,
we have a couple minutes.
Are we allowed to go over or not?
A little bit. So it's not to be a summary.
I could give you this. Yeah. Okay. I need to make.
We found Alex's next YouTube
basically,
video.
Yeah, that's a great idea for my next YouTube video. Basically, the way that like if I was to boil it down to one thing, like the two questions that I would ask myself for an account structure, and I will go into more detail on this in the video that I put together, or Mary, just DM me and I can send you like a loom over of what we do. Two questions I would ask myself. Number one, are creatives being tested fairly against each other? So we have like at minimum, I'm not saying this is recommended for all accounts, but at the very minimum for like a low spending account, I would have one testing campaign, and inside that campaign, I would test either CBO, ABO, whatever's been tested, like whatever's been running on the account before. And inside of each concept is its own ad set. Inside of each ad set, you've got the different variations for ads. So you're not ever competing like different concepts against each other in testing. So you've got testing campaign, each ad set is its own concept. Inside of each ad set, you've got the different variations, A, B, C, D, and that might be a different hook, a different like body change to the script, whatever it be. And then when something is working inside the testing campaign, I would not turn it off, because that is a mistake that like so many media buyers make. If it's working, do not turn it off. And you can even use the testing campaign like as a scaling campaign and kind of like bump up the budget in the testing, but duplicate it into the scaling, which is usually an ASC. Although, once again, whatever has been consistent with what has been done in the account before, and scale up that ASC as you see fit, some things off and on. But I will make a video on that in more detail, or just DM me. I can show you how we set up ours. But like two questions I'd ask myself: can creatives be tested fairly? And number two, like when we have found a winner, can it be moved into like a scaling campaign to put some more spend behind it?
Cool. And so still staying in the ad account, Waleed wants to know like how many creatives would you allocate to like prospecting ads versus retargeting ads in terms of like volume of creative in these sprints, 14 7-day cadence. How are you like actually approaching the creative testing from like a sprint calendar type of spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult for me to say like, oh, if you're spending 50K a month, then I would recommend you doing like 3 concepts a week. Or if you're doing this and you do that. I mean, we launch concepts into the ad account every week, multiple week. It's so variable, like from account to account. The way that like I approach it is that you kind of take it on like how's performance. If you want to if you think creatives are fatiguing and that like you're not testing much things inside the account, then I'd increase the number of creatives, and then if everything's go well, then we could just think about like doing iterations, what's working or whatever it be. Yeah, it's a very difficult question to answer, but we're putting like new creative into the account. Like I mean, we do it like twice a week on Tuesday and a Friday, and then it's just variable depending on like how much is being spent and then how performance is like.
Cool. And then in terms of the content that you're actually testing, Bexley wants to know, how much time do you spend on iteration versus net new concepts? Do you have like a rule for that, or is it really dependent on if there's nothing performing, then we're only doing net new? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually think that most brands don't do enough work on the iterative side, not just on like on the individual basis, but also like account wide, like we just mentioned a moment ago. So I'm always hesitant to say like, oh, we do 80% net new, we do 20% iteration. And the reason that I say that is because like I don't want to force my team to make iterations for the sake of making iterations. If there is an ad that's inside the ad account that's in testing or it's in whatever, and we think, oh, we have some valid ideas for creative swings that we think we can iterate on this, then we'll go and iterate on those. If there's not, then there's not. Now I can say that like for the most part, I mean we have accounts where it's as low as 50-50. Like 50% of the content that has been made is iterative and 50% of it is net new. We also have accounts where it is like 80-20 or 85-15. And especially new accounts where you have less data, it makes sense to take more net new swings because you're just trying to get an understanding for what type of concepts and angles resonate with people. But generally like between the 50-50 and like 80-20 range. But don't set yourself a quota. Don't say like, I'm going to make 3 and 4 ads net new and 1 and 4 iterative, because like it's just, if you see something you want to iterate on, go and do it. And if you don't think there's an iteration there, like don't try and force it.
And this is exactly why everyone needs to go and subscribe to Alex's YouTube channel. Make sure you're following him on Twitter or X, because all of this information, we're seeing it come out now. It's like he built a script in 40 minutes. Absolutely amazing. Now everyone's asking about the subsequent stuff. So there's a lot of gems that we can get into. So I think, Alex, you've been absolutely incredible, man. Gonna send you a lot of the questions that came through to hopefully inspire some of the other pieces, or we can just like do AMAs in the future and like let people just ask questions and pepper you with them. But my man, this is absolutely incredible. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and blessing the audience with all this good information.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate everyone who came out, and also appreciate Evan and Zach for putting this on. I make quite a bit of content online, and we get tools reaching out to us all the time, asking for me to like promote them. I never promote tools that we don't actually use, and hopefully you guys have seen inside of the talk today that like Foreplay and Motion are 2 essential parts of our workflow for producing ads across 20 brands. So really is a pleasure for you to jump on with you 2 guys and jam today, and everyone who joined. Yeah, it's been great fun.
Amazing. Let's show some final love in the chat, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure. And we know we're going to see you at the next one. Thanks so much. Enjoy your days. Enjoy your nights. Enjoy wherever you are in the world. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.